Friday, June the 30th. Sorry about no fishing report last Wednesday. We've had some computer issues, and my wife just got the computer fixed today, so we'll get this uploaded this afternoon. But the lake level is about 921 1/4. It's been coming down a couple inches a day. Water temperature's actually cooled down. A couple weeks ago there was a lot of mid 80s to high 80s. Right now it seems like it's about 78, 79 degrees in the morning, and hadn't got real warm the last few days. So I mean, you'll see it get up into the 82, 83 degrees, in that range, even up in the river arms. But with that, the cold nights we've had, it's cooled the water down quite a bit. But there's a lot of different things going on. I mean, right now the lake level to me is perfect. I mean, I love it at this level because it's got about 5 or 6 feet of water in the bushes. And what that's doing is they pull the lake down. A lot of them fish that have been way back up in that brush, water's getting shallower and shallower. A lot of them fish are having to pull back out of there, and they're actually getting out there on the edge of some of them bush lines where you can get at them. There's been a really good flipping by it. Now, I'm not going to say lots of numbers of fish. You really got to work at it. But we've been able to catch several keepers, and most of them are largemouths, pretty good quality fish. And I'll show you the baits here in just a minute. But there's not much of a deep bite, or at least that I've found. There's a little bit of a drop shot bite and a spoon bite around the deep docks. But as far as from that 25 foot out, I'm not finding much for fish at all. What little bit of drop shot bite I'm getting vertical is probably 18 to 22 feet. Most of the fish that I'm catching are just on the edge of the bushes, anywhere from 5 foot to about 15 foot. And we're catching them a lot of different ways. And the same patterns has kind of been working for me, whether I'm up in the White River, the James. Today I was down around Kimberling City. We had several keepers. Most of them were smallmouths, but we stayed probably 3-4 miles each side of the bridge, just fishing main lake points. And we caught a couple of them on a Ned rig, but the majority, any place that you normally would throw a Ned rig, I'm throwing a football jig, and I'm throwing a pretty heavy one. Even though I'm fishing shallow water, I'm fishing a 1/2 ounce to 5/8 ounce pig sticker football jig, and the color seems to be working. A lot of different colors working, but the green pumpkin orange is working real well in the mid-lake area. A lot of times I'll see the crawdads that the fish got in their mouths, and there's a lot of green and orange on them. This has got a baby rage craw as a trailer, but you can use any kind of twin tail, like twin tail chompers. A zoom speed craw will work. Now, like I said, Ned rig will work in the same place. For the most part, I'm setting the boat in about 15 to 20 foot of water, fishing main lake and secondary points and down the sides of the points a little bit. And I'm also on them same areas. That's where I'm flipping. I'm getting up into the brush and flipping several different baits, but in actually different colors too. This is a Strike King structure bug, which is just like a Reaction Renovations beaver. They call it California. In the Reaction Renovations, the color would be California 420. Okeechobee craw will work. And I'm throwing a lot bigger baits. And even on my football jig, that one I just showed you had a baby rage craw. But I'm throwing a lot of the full-sized rage craws. And bigger profile, and that usually works when the water gets a little warmer. But another thing I'm flipping to, instead of a small brush hog, is a full-size brush hog. Texas rigging that on a, I don't have one there rigged up, but on a 5/0 hook with a 1/4 ounce, 5/16 weight, and I'm pegging the weight. Here's one rigged up on the structure bug. The reason I peg the weight is because when I'm flipping those bushes, I want to make sure the bait goes down through the bottom of the bush. Just flipping it in there a couple times, pulling it up, down, no bite, go on and flip to the next bush. And you can also, with some of those bushes, you can throw like a whopper plopper, and I've been doing a little better with the smaller whopper plopper than I have the bigger one. Another bait I've been throwing in the bushes And there's also a shallow dock bite as well. This is, Bobby Albert pig sticker jig. It's kind of a brown with a little blue, and I've got a Okeechobee craw, baby rage craw on it for a trailer. But I'm flipping this in the bushes and out in front of them. Now, you know, a lot of the reason the fish are so shallow, or at least most of the fish I'm catching shallow, is the water temperature's cool for this time of year. There's still quite a bit of water flow. There's, you know, a couple generators running in the morning and in the afternoon. There's 3 or 4, so there's a lot of water flow. And with the water temperature like it is, the thermocline hadn't set up, or at least I can't find it. So, you know, I'm finding, like I say, the majority of the fish 15, 18 foot in. It doesn't matter what end of the lake. The color seems to be pretty much the same, you know, throughout the lake as far as the stain. And I am catching some still on a Strike King 6XD, fat-free shadow work, or like a DD22, citrus shad. Another one of the Strike King that works real good is the chartreuse sexy shad. Now, a lot of the fish aren't really out on the offshore structure yet. You know, places we would normally catch them. And I think because the water's high and a lot of them drops that we usually fish are a little too deep. The places I'm catching them on the crankbait and the football jig on structure, instead of places that go from like 15 to 20 or from, you know, 10 to 25 foot, I'm catching them in areas where humps come up to 5 to 8 foot and drop to 15 foot. So if you're going to fish some offshore stuff, look for that stuff that's a little bit shallower instead of the stuff that, you know, you would normally fish. Now, it's going to be pretty busy out there this weekend, but even with the boat traffic, the fish have still been biting pretty good. And what's been odd, you know, I've talked to several of the other guides, really hadn't been much of a an early bite. You know, it seems like about 10 o'clock, no matter where you are in the lake, you know, the fish seem to start biting better, you know. And I think they're biting better throughout the heat of the day, you know, in the afternoon with all the boat traffic around. The morning bite, you know, I catch a few fish flipping and, you know, a few outside the bushes, but I don't know whether it's because the generation is increasing later in the day or what it is for sure, but it's been like this for about a week and a half that about 10 o'clock it seems like the dinner bell goes home and the fish start feeding a little better. So next week we'll get back on track and I'll have the fishing report up on Wednesday. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.